Ahmed Midhat Pasha was one of the greatest statesmen in Ottoman history, and he contributed to the modernization and longevity of the Ottoman Empire. His influence was felt all across the Ottoman Empire, from Eastern Europe all the way to the Persian Gulf, and he served as the governor of many Ottoman provinces, including Serbia, Bulgaria, Baghdad, and Damascus. Ahmed Midhat Pasha was born in 1822 into a family of Islamic scholars from Ottoman Bulgaria. In 1864, he was appointed as the Ottoman governor of Bulgaria, which was a province that was directly affected by the Ottoman-Russian War. Thousands of Muslim refugees, such as Crimean Tatars and Circassians, flooded into the province after being expelled from Russia. During his time as the Ottoman governor of Bulgaria, Midhat Pasha conducted a census of the population in order to identify the needs of the refugees. After gaining approval from the Sultan, Midhat Pasha built hospitals, schools, roads, and bridges, and conducted a vaccine campaign for refugees across the province. During his reign as the Ottoman governor of Bulgaria, Midhat Pasha managed to successfully integrate the refugees into the Ottoman Empire. In 1869, Midhat Pasha left Bulgaria and was appointed as the governor of Baghdad. Baghdad and Ottoman Iraq was a region that had been neglected by the Ottoman government for decades. Within 3 years, Midhat Pasha managed to completely transform Ottoman Iraq. Upon entering Baghdad, Midhat Pasha reorganized the administration and included many Iraqis in the local government, which had previously been dominated by Turks. During his time as the governor of Baghdad, Midhat Pasha invested in urban development, infrastructure, agriculture, and military reforms. He invested in dams and irrigation, and he ordered the city's debris-filled canals to be cleaned and reopened. Therefore, Iraqi farmers whose land had been dried out were once again able to grow food. Midhat Pasha also established land reform laws that enabled people to purchase property. This encouraged Arab nomadic tribes to give up their way of life and settle down with plots of land. Therefore, many nomadic Arabs exchanged their dependence on camels with a new reliance on commercial trade. Some of these Arabs became powerful landowners, and the balance of power shifted from family authority to urban government. As a result, tribes began paying taxes to the Ottoman government instead of their tribal sheikhs. Modernization soon arrived in Baghdad, and Baghdad's commercial trade improved. Landowners began to export crops, and imported goods began flowing into the city from the Persian Gulf. During his time in Iraq, Midhat Pasha also created a state-operated steamship company on the Euphrates River in order to challenge the steamship monopoly held by British companies. Baghdad witnessed rapid economic growth and improvements in standards of living. Midhat Pasha built a hospital, a textile factory, a technical university, a public park, and a tram line that enabled easy transport between Baghdad and Khadimiyya. Midhat Pasha also founded the city of Ramadi, which was previously a small Bedouin settlement which was part of the lawless desert of Anbar. The city of Ramadi was founded after Midhat Pasha invested in irrigation and infrastructure in the region and granted large amounts of agricultural land to the nomadic Dulaim tribe, who settled in the area which eventually became the city of Ramadi. Because many Iraqi tribes were no longer nomadic, many roads which had previously been dangerous were now safe and secure. Midhat Pasha also established good relations with many tribes that chose to remain nomadic, and he relocated tribes that did not get along with each other. One of the tribes that gained the trust of Midhat Pasha was the Al-Muntafiq tribal confederation of southern Iraq. The Al-Muntafiq helped secure the borders of the Ottoman Empire and protect the Ottomans against hostile tribes. During his time in Baghdad, Midhat Pasha also managed to create a cultural renaissance in the city of Baghdad, which was once the center of Islamic civilization. He opened a printing press and established Iraq's first ever newspaper known as Al-Zawra, and he invested in intellectuals, artists and poets, such as the painter known as Osman Hamdi Bey and the polymath known as Midhat Effendi. According to the Iraqi historians Abbas al-Azzawi and Ali al-Wardi, the rule of Midhat Pasha was the greatest period in the history of Ottoman Iraq. Because of his just and prosperous rule, the people of Iraq gave him the nickname Abu al-Ahrar, meaning father of the free. After his successful reign as the Ottoman governor of Baghdad, Midhat Pasha was appointed as the Grand Vizier of the Ottoman Empire, which was the highest ranking position of the Caliphate after the Sultan himself. However, Midhat Pasha was removed from his position after he tried to limit the extravagant personal spending of Sultan Abdul Aziz. After Midhat Pasha was removed, he began planning a coup against the Sultan. In May 1876, with the help of various Ottoman ministers, Midhat Pasha managed to overthrow Sultan Abdul Aziz and replace him with Sultan Abdul Hamid II. As a result, Midhat Pasha was appointed as the Grand Vizier for a second time. After becoming Grand Vizier, Midhat Pasha established the first Ottoman Parliament and created the first Ottoman Constitution. He also expanded the Ottoman military and invested in infrastructure, education, urban development, and healthcare. Midhat Pasha also opened multiple Ottoman embassies in Western European countries. However, the new constitution created by Midhat Pasha limited the power of Sultan Abdul Hamid, who eventually removed Midhat Pasha and exiled him to Italy. The removal of Midhat Pasha had a detrimental effect on the Ottoman Empire. All of the reforms made by Midhat Pasha were reversed, and the Ottoman government returned to despotism and corruption. However, Midhat Pasha was eventually allowed to return from exile, after various Ottoman politicians mediated on his behalf and pleaded with the Sultan to allow him to return. Although Midhat Pasha was allowed to return, he was banned from serving as the Grand Vizier. Instead, he was appointed as the governor of Damascus. This was Midhat Pasha's last major position within the Ottoman government, before he eventually resigned from politics. As the governor of Damascus, Midhat Pasha had a very small budget due to the careless and excessive spending of Sultan Abdul Hamid. Therefore, Midhat Pasha was not able to make many major infrastructure reforms in Damascus as he had done in Baghdad. For example, Midhat Pasha attempted to establish a railway network across Syria. However, the budget for this plan was not approved by the Ottoman central government. Midhat Pasha also proposed to build roads connecting the Al-Nusayriya mountains to the rest of Syria, in order to end the isolation of the impoverished Shia population from the rest of Syria. However, these roads were never built as the budget for this plan was not approved by Sultan Abdul Hamid. Because of his low budget as the governor of Damascus, Midhat Pasha focused on fighting corruption and making social and educational reforms. During his time as the governor of Damascus, Midhat Pasha removed corrupt officials and replaced them with local reformers such as Tahir al-Jazairi, who was appointed as the Minister of Education. Midhat Pasha also opened an orphanage in Damascus and many new schools throughout the province, including 2 schools for girls. Midhat Pasha also established Syria's first public library, known as the Zahiriya Library. The Zahiriya Library consisted of over 2,400 manuscripts and books, which were collected from all across Ottoman Syria with the help of Syrian scholars and intellectuals such as Mahmud Effendi Hamza, Sheikh Alauddin Abidin, Sheikh Salim al-Attar, Sheikh Salim al-Bukhari, Sheikh Muhammad al-Munaini, and Sheikh Ahmed Muslim al-Khuzbari. During his time in Syria, Midhat Pasha also reopened and funded the Syrian Musical Theatre, which had been closed for many years. The Syrian Musical Theatre produced great actors and playwriters such as Abu Khalil al-Qabbani, who contributed to cultural revival in Syria. Despite his low budget and lack of resources, Midhat Pasha's reign as the governor of Syria was highly successful, and it left a mark on the Syrian people, who named a market after him, known as Souq Midhat Pasha. The Syrian writer Qadri al-Qallaji wrote a book about Midhat Pasha entitled Midhat Pasha, the father of the Ottoman constitution and the dethroner of the Sultan. Midhat Pasha eventually resigned from his position as the governor of Syria and began calling for reform in the Ottoman central government. However, he was later silenced by the Ottoman government, who arrested him in the year 1881. Midhat Pasha was sent to a prison in Hijaz, where he died in the year 1883.